Welcome back, everybody, to the Last Week This Week podcast. I'm Ian Scott.
I'm Zack Huber.
And this is a podcast where we talk about nerd culture and topics from the past week and the upcoming week. I know
starting late today.
Yeah. We usually do a morning recording, but this is a little nighttime nice session here.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a little chill today, to be honest.
But yeah, we have a lot to discuss. But I think we wanted.
Yeah, we're gonna start off with I guess some of the more closer to the by the time this podcast comes out, it'll be the most recent of the news, I guess, that we're gonna cover. And the Quantumania movie red carpet premiere happened, I think, a day or two ago.
Yeah, people are sharing their first reactions now.
Yeah, so people are sharing their first reactions, and Ian here hasn't seen any of them, and I just thought they would be kind of interesting to go over. So it's interesting. The general consensus is that it is the most sci-fi of any MCU property.
Really?
And that it's very weird, but it's a good way MCU weird. I will also say that there's 2 post-credit scenes that are apparently very good.
Okay. I will say Marvel has been super hit and miss with their end credit scenes lately.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember which ones.
I mean,
the Doctor Strange one, that was
rough.
Honestly,
Oof.
maybe you had a problem with the post, unless you remind me of some. I don't think I've had as many problems with post credit scenes.
What was the one where they teased evil Doctor Strange?
Evil Doctor Strange?
Remember they tease it at the very end of a movie. I think it was No Way Home. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was like a mini trailer to
right,
Doctor
still,
Strange.
Yeah.
You didn't like that? You didn't like it at the end of No Way Home? That little Doctor Strange thing?
I think maybe I just have a bad taste in my mouth since it wasn't the actual evil Doctor Strange that we knew.
I guess like the CGI for Troll, I think that was his name for.
Oh, in Eternals. Yeah.
That wasn't great.
It was not great.
But anyways, the across the board is that Kang is amazing. Like Jonathan Majors is incredible.
Fantastic. Yeah.
There's some people who are going far enough as to say that he is better than Thanos. I need to see the movie.
It's a high bar to pass.
It's a very high bar to pass. So I think maybe take that with a grain of salt.
I don't know if this impression is going to be on there. I also saw like someone say that this is more of a like chapter 1 of what's to come rather than like a chapter 3 of a trilogy.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
because one of the reactions is like this is, I think similar to what you're saying. It's equally a jumping off point of like phase 5 and what's to come.
Right.
But it's equally a Ant-Man movie, like self-contained, which sounds exactly like how old MCU used to be. So I'm excited about that, but I guess I didn't hear about the chapter 3 of you mean the Ant-Man series? Like it doesn't feel like a conclusion or something.
Right.
I mean, I just saw today that I don't know if it's necessarily true, but it's that Marvel Studios is already thinking of an Ant-Man 4.
Wow. That's surprising. Because I feel like that character, maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't bring in the money like other characters Marvel has.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, so I do want some kind of an ending for these characters. Like maybe not a definitive that they can never be seen in the universe again, but like I want some sort of a wrap up on our trilogy of Ant-Man here.
I agree, but at the same time, it's not like Tony Stark had or Captain America,
right,
and had like a de facto like they all carried on into Avengers movies where they had equal.
I would say both Iron Man 3 and Captain America Civil War like did retire their superhero personas at the end of those movies.
They did.
They kept going after, obviously.
They did.
But they tried to wrap it up at least, you know?
I guess. I mean, we'll have to see how this movie goes, but
yeah.
I also am not. I don't feel like the MCU or any of these characters are beholden to, like, I feel like the trilogy is like an arbitrary thing that's come about over the last like couple decades of like, oh, we need a trilogy. And I don't think that's necessarily like, things are cool that they go on and have. I'm not, obviously you want them all to be good. And I know that the idea of a trilogy is like very nice and neat and feels nice to have, but it's not super necessary. Like having maybe 4 films could be great. It's like you got 1, 2, 3, 4.
I guess that's the thing too, is that like I think almost every single franchise they have has treated their movies more like a single issue or like a single arc of a comic.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the next movie is like, oh, let's just do the next arc. That doesn't really tie in a whole lot to the previous movies we wrote. So I see where you're coming from. Like Thor did that, and that's why they have 4 Thor movies now. And
they'll probably have more. I mean,
they said they're gonna have a 5th.
Okay.
So
yeah. But besides that, MODOK is quote unquote a riot. So I'm assuming it's going to be a very comedic
wow. I didn't
role.
expect that.
And I also, jumping off of the sci-fi-ness, it's like somebody said MCU meets Star Wars. Like it is like a science fiction epic. Like
it looks like a sci-fi epic. So.
Apparently it's from the marketing, we've really not seen a lot of what, like, apparently the ending is very big.
Good. Great.
Not everybody is super crazy about it. Like there's one person, Courtney Howard, said after a frustratingly rough Act 1, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania finally gets going, only to end the story where it should have began.
Interesting.
Still says that Jonathan Major rules. And then another person, Sean Keane, said that the movie has way too much going on. It's tough to connect emotionally to any of it. I wouldn't say that they're in the majority. Most people are really digging it.
Maybe it just has too much going on for like the non-MCU connected person.
Possibly.
Yeah.
So those are the general thoughts. They don't exactly move the needle for me. If I'm gonna like it anymore. I think
for sure.
It's
just interesting to know.
It's just interesting. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I think that the fact that it's more positive than, I know some people were really bullish on Thor when it first came out. And same thing with
the fourth one or the first one?
The fourth one.
Okay.
But that one equally had some people that were like, it's maybe too funny or like too goofy.
Right.
Which was very accurate.
Yes. Yeah.
So I mean we'll be able to see in a week.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean,
so
I guess that is the thing, is that like I'm confident that this looks good from what I've seen, but I was pretty confident that Thor: Love and Thunder looked good from what I had seen.
Yeah.
So we'll very much see.
Yeah, we'll very much see.
Yeah.
And we'll very much see if this next piece of news is gonna happen, which is Constantine 2.
Yeah. Just
the other day, it was being reported that Constantine 2 with Keanu Reeves wasn't going to happen, especially because it wasn't announced or talked about with the DC slate that got brought up.
Right, but neither was, J.J. Abrams' Superman.
No, and to be honest, does Harley Quinn, like the animated series, does that?
That should be Elseworlds if they're keeping it.
They didn't talk about it. I can't imagine them not going forward with it.
Do you think it's that successful?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yes. Okay. But it's now it's a Warner Brothers exec.
Warner Brothers spokesperson.
A spokesperson.
Yeah.
Okay. Said that it's not scrapped.
Right.
But
still moving forward, I think is what they did say.
I think it was just maybe they said that, but I think it was primarily the message that I got was
Still in the works. That's what it said. Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that it's happening. So I don't.
Sure. But it doesn't mean it's been scrapped.
Sure.
And a lot of things have been scrapped, like being a part of this DC reshuffle. So
Wonder Twins.
I love that's the first thing you mentioned. But yeah, I don't know. Like, did you see the first movie?
No, that's why you have a little bit. But I do have thoughts about why I don't think this is happening.
I know like a few months ago, Keanu Reeves like mentioned if there was a property that he ever wanted to revisit, like what would it be? And he was like, I very much have been wanting to make another Constantine movie. And, he loves that character. And I think it's not like, from what I've seen afterwards and from what I've heard from other people, it's not your traditional like Constantine, I guess like appearance or like,
exactly.
Right. And I think probably fans want a Constantine that is more like the comics.
Yeah.
But I think that can be saved for their actual universe. And I think there are a lot of fans of the first Constantine movie that would very much be happy to see Keanu Reeves in a sequel. And I think the first movie was super dark and gritty and badass, and he was this just cool exorcist who like dealt with like demons and angels, and I don't know, it's a cool movie. And I mean, I haven't seen it in like a decade, but I still remember liking it a lot.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is right, that there are a lot of fans of that and definitely want to see a sequel. It just, the only thing that, like, the reason that I think you can have a Batman Elseworlds, I mean, this might be one of those rare occurrences because there's already a Constantine movie back from, what was it, 2004?
Right.
That this wouldn't be too confusing. It's just the fact that he's such a lesser known character to audiences. Like with Batman, I feel like people get it, but that's also because Batman's such a big character. Like I don't know. It doesn't seem so confusing. Same thing with Joker, but
maybe to me, like, it makes more sense to go with these kind of characters because you're not duplicating the characters you already have in your like upcoming universe,
Sure. I would say that if it does go forward into an under an Elseworlds sort of banner, obviously the script would have to be amazing because that's what Peter and James said, that they're having a premium on. It needs to be very good to be an Elseworlds story.
Maybe that's what's happening, is that basically they like the idea of a Constantine 2, and the fact that Keanu Reeves wants to do it is a huge bonus.
I think it's been trying to be made for a long time too, so maybe that's why.
And so maybe they just want to see a script before scrapping the idea.
Maybe.
Right.
The argument that I would also have is exactly about how this Constantine is not like his comic book equivalent.
Right.
If they're making things like Swamp Thing, who has a lot of ties with...
Yeah, I mean, there's no way this Constantine would be in the DC universe.
I don't know if people would be confused. Maybe they would be maybe they would, because I could see them wanting to make a Constantine movie in the future.
Sure.
And they would want to have a different actor, unless they keep Constantine to a primarily supporting role in other movies. But
I agree. If they do ever plan on making a Constantine movie for the new DC universe, then this won't happen, I think.
I guess we'll just see.
We'll see. Yeah. I hope it does.
I guess I could. I don't. It doesn't really matter.
We should watch the movie at some point.
I will. I'll watch it.
I'll watch it with you. Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I guess more recently, news-wise, we got some casting news for the leader of the Fire Navi people.
The Ash people.
Sorry. I should have known.
No, it's
Do you have her name? The actress?
Una Chaplin.
Right. She's the granddaughter of Charlie Chaplin, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the actress who played Talisa Stark.
Who I've neglected to look up images to remind myself, who is she and what season does she show up in Game of Thrones?
So she is in, I want to say ending of season 2 and all of season 3. She's Robb Stark's wife.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Cool.
So
cool.
She played a great role in that season.
Yeah,
and I'm super excited to see her again because I haven't seen her in anything since.
Yeah. And it was being reported that at least with this new movie and with this new I guess tribe of people, that there's a lot of good humans and there's a lot of bad humans, and there's a lot of good Na'vi and there's a lot of bad Na'vi.
They want to show all sides.
All sides, and also what necessarily dictates being like having a bad perspective, like what it is, like
right,
what are the
because they don't believe they're
that,
bad, right?
Sure, exactly, which is what makes a good. I mean,
that's what makes a good story, right?
A good villain doesn't think they're bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was also hearing. I mean, this isn't like super recent news, but like with this third movie, and I think the narrator is going to be changed from Jake to his son now. Which is very cool. I think that was my thought going. You know, I guess while I was watching the second movie, is that maybe Jake dies in this movie and then the main character becomes him. But I think we'll see that in like Avatar 4 and 5. You know.
Yeah. Well, you know, wait, is in 3 it's the son that takes over the narrating, right?
Yes,
okay. I mean, I think Jake dies
in 3. I agree. Yeah.
I mean, and we should also say that another bit of Avatar news that came out along with this is that there's going to be a time jump after 3. So there'll be a time jump
at the start of 4, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't know if you also saw, but the other thing that I talked about, I don't know if we talked about it on this podcast.
We did, yeah.
A while ago, but Neytiri, the 5th movie, they go to Earth and Neytiri.
Right.
So it's kind of frustrating, even though I'm not the biggest fan of the Avatar movies. I was hoping that the second one would kind of win me over a bit more, but it's still frustrating. I mean, I love, because she was like one of the parts of the movie that I really like the most. But it's still frustrating that it's okay. So she lives through the next 3 movies.
I will say, like, the report I read didn't necessarily list that she was the one that would go to Earth.
It said through Neytiri's eyes.
That's a bummer. Like, I do hope that maybe we're just being thrown off, because
maybe
for him or somebody to leak major plot points that don't happen until like 3 movies from now is insane.
I agree.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
It could also be that it's not really that big of a deal once we see these movies. Like, it makes sense that the person that would need to see Earth
would be the original Na'vi.
Well, it would have to be out of the characters that they have. It would seem that it would need to be Neytiri, because she's the one she's so untrusting, and
it would be like a full circle moment.
Yeah. Like, she doesn't, and it's also supposed to show Earth, obviously, and what does Earth look like after having all your natural resources depleted and overpopulation. But
I'm so curious about what Earth is going to look like, because James Cameron better make some effort to make Earth look cool. Like, he's got like 6 years to do it. Please design something that's very interesting.
Yeah, I was wondering if it would be something where similar to similar to, I guess, like WALL-E. I don't think it'll look as desolate as like something like WALL-E, but
sure,
how there's so much trash that they can't have these landfills. You have to like pile it up in these stacks. Like, would the human population in a lot of dystopian settings be in these high rising, like dread level huge city, like
mega cities,
right? Could be like that.
I want something.
It's definitely gonna have like
right.
the least amount of green forest.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Hardly any.
Yeah, and I think that's a cool setting to take us to. Like after being on like a tribe planet this entire time.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine what seeing the Na'vi on Earth is gonna be like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming it's going to be like a war, right? Like maybe like all the Na'vi people they've gathered throughout the movies will like go to Earth. I don't know.
Well, I mean, he was saying that it's not going to be so cynical. Like there is going to be a bit of hope. Like we can change ourselves. We can get better, which is the whole kind of point of these Avatar movies is,
you change adaptation.
Right.
Yeah.
I also will wonder if the Na'vi are going to look weird. Like let's say that the setting for Earth is all CGI, it probably won't look weird. But if there's a lot of,
I would say even
because all of Pandora, all of those shots, I think, are primarily.
I would agree with you, but the fact that the CGI is so lifelike in these movies that I feel like I'm already looking at a real thing, like a real living being.
You're not wrong.
And so I don't think it's going to have any issue translating, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Moving on, this weekend, probably a little bit after this podcast comes out, will be the Super Bowl. And there is reportedly going to be close to 11 trailers that are all coming out from movie studios, primarily Disney.
Yeah.
I think there's like 6.
They got a lot of money to spend, apparently.
Yeah.
Because have you seen how much Super Bowl ads are?
It's $7 million for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I think up front, we'll say that all of these trailers are not going to most likely be full trailers. They're just going to be probably 30-second spots with the full trailer online now attached at the end. But just running through them real quick, and then we'll talk about them. It's The Flash, Transformers Rise of the Beast, Fast 10, Ant-Man 3, Cocaine Bear, which is only going to be 15 seconds long, Guardians 3, Little Mermaid, Elemental, Scream 6, and Dungeons and Dragons. And then what Deadline's also is reporting as these are maybes are The Marvels, Indiana Jones, John Wick, and Creed 3. The Flash we already knew about. Transformers, me personally, it's gonna be a great, awesome trailer. I already know it, but I just don't know if the movie now. Michael Bay's not directing, right?
Yeah, so and it's a sequel to Bumblebee.
So we'll see. I mean, I know the trailer is gonna be sick, and I'm gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I wasn't in love with the first trailer that dropped for Rise of the Beasts.
Yeah, no, me neither. It really takes me out of it. Like I loved Beast Wars as a kid, but that was on like either I can't remember. It's either prehistoric Earth or like on a separate planet all by itself.
That's what I will say is that the trailer just felt like Michael Bay to me. Like it felt like the designs we had from those movies were like they weren't fully back, but they were a little more realistic than Bumblebee.
And I'm just so curious. Like there's. Yeah. Sorry, go on. It's just like that end battle. It seems like an end battle thing where they're on these plains and there's like I think a volcano or some shit. I'm like, what the where? I don't know. It just seems so weird. Not that there aren't places on Earth that happens.
Sure.
Like that there's, but it's really weird to me to have these. Like what are they? The Maximals that turn into like like what is the like I know we're talking about like robots here that transform into vehicles, but really like what is the survivability? Like what is the adaptation to disguise. Like, I know we had the Dinobots, which is ridiculous all in itself.
Right.
To be still a dinosaur after all this time.
Yeah, but like, what's
to
the
be a
point of
giant
being
gorilla
right.
or a pterodactyl? I just and I think it's cool that we get the G1 Transformers, but again, these are like Optimus is rig.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not even a rig. It's like that truck does not exist.
Yeah.
No company makes that. Like the thing that made the Transformers, like the original ones, somewhat believable is that those were actual vehicles.
Well, that's the thing is that
were
like,
being made at the time, and you would have Bumblebee be the new Camaro each year
right.
it came out.
What was? Yeah, I mean, like the problem I will say with the Rise of the Beast concept for at least in a movie is that these were clearly made for kids. Kids want dinosaurs and Transformers in the same toy.
And I think I'm gonna my head will be like, this is awesome.
Right.
But on the equal hand, I'll have to see the movie, but I'll just be like, this is also so stupid.
So stupid, yeah.
Because when Beast Wars came out, it was an animated show, and it was for kids.
Right.
And similar to like having a Power Rangers where they were all like the Yellow Ranger had like a leopard fucking mega, like I forget what they call them, but or like the blue one had a Triceratops, which that was my favorite because I love Triceratops and I love blue. But it's
perfect.
It's like are we gonna have a Power Rangers movie in the future where for some reason they all have dino counterparts? Like
no.
Well, I guess we kind of did. Did the new one? I didn't watch the new one. Maybe they had
didn't have dinosaurs. I don't think.
Well, but they're like to form the Megazord. They had these giant. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
but
Well, I mean, I'll say we went off on a long Transformers tangent.
It's just
But yeah, I mean, the only other two trailers that I like really want to see that are, and they're both maybes, are the Marvels and Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a John Wick one, but
I've seen 2 trailers of John Wick already, I think, or have only seen the one.
I think it's only the one. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I would. That one trailer was fine enough.
Did a Creed 3 trailer already come out too?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well,
we haven't seen anything for the Marvels.
I agree.
And
the Marvels would be cool, but it's a maybe. Indiana Jones, I would love another trailer, but that also doesn't come out till like
May or June, isn't it?
Maybe that's not that far away.
Right.
Yeah, I'm
the others are okay, cool. We're getting
not even Guardians. Like you're not.
I to be honest, I don't want to watch more trailers for Guardians. I will if we want to talk about it on this podcast.
Sure.
But I'm fulfilled from the one trailer, and
it's great.
And
but they're gonna do another one. That was more of a teaser.
And I mean, everything else is like Little Mermaid. I've seen enough of that.
I would see. I don't need to see another Dungeons and Dragons trailer.
Agreed. We've seen enough. It doesn't look very good.
Oh, my friend, we are on 2 separate. I am so excited to watch this movie.
Maybe I need to see more of it. Maybe I need another trailer because I didn't think that first trailer looked that good.
Damn, I thought it was great.
Interesting.
I don't need to see another Scream 6 trailer.
Yeah, that was a very long trailer we got already.
But I really do want to see another Creed trailer, and I really, really want to see the Little Mermaid and the Elemental trailer because
Elemental, yeah, I'll give you that. And the Flash. I mean, yeah.
Well, yeah. Obviously, I think the Flash is like probably the most anticipated that we want to see
because we haven't seen it since like summer of 2021, I think.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
Jeez.
Fast 10, I'm only interested in seeing it because I've heard nothing but drama about the movie.
Yeah,
and
same. And I've heard it costs like a ton to make. So
how much did it cost?
Well, I want to say, like, do you remember when Justin Lin, the director, like walked out?
Oh yeah,
and they were every day he wasn't on set. Like they were burning through millions of dollars. And I was like, Oh my God.
And Vin Diesel the whole time was like taking pictures with the cast or other people and like, look how good we're doing on set. And it's like,
so yeah,
no one believes you.
I want to say this is the most expensive Fast and Furious movie they've made.
Yeah. I've never seen, I really haven't seen that many Fast and the Furious movies.
I've seen the first one. That's it.
I have seen the first one.
Yeah.
I saw.
And it was good.
Yeah, I'm sure if I get into them, I will be into them up until 9 or something, because I heard 9 is atrocious.
From what I've heard is that up until the 4th one, like it's about racing, and then like, and then when the 5th one starts, it gets kind of like crazy.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Not knowing them off the top of my head, but yeah, I mean, these are. I'm excited to. I will most likely just be watching these online because I'll be working the night of the Super Bowl. But
yeah, I mean, I'll be watching the Super Bowl, but
I mean, I do want to watch the Super Bowl because my family's team is playing, the Eagles.
Yeah, they are.
Like my family's team is the Eagles, not that.
Yeah, your family owns the Eagles.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, maybe some of you guys are more into some of these trailers or are more anticipating Cocaine Bear. I think Cocaine Bear
looks so good, doesn't it?
It either is going to be so good or it's going to be so bad.
So bad, yeah.
I don't think there's a in between.
I think it could be so bad that it's like funny to watch still. You know, I think there's
totally.
Gonna be those movies.
I am 100% watching this movie.
Plus, it's Ray Liotta's last movie.
Yeah, we gotta watch it for the good fella.
Absolutely, the good
fella. Moving on. This is also very recent news.
Yeah, it is.
A Quiet Place Day One is a new prequel movie to John Krasinski's A Quiet Place. And
a trailer we're probably not going to be getting.
No. Trailer we're probably not getting for quite a while because they just started shooting.
Right.
I think it's supposed to come out 2024, and John Krasinski's on set apparently, but he's not in the casting.
I don't even think he wrote this movie. I could be wrong.
It said screenplay by like 2 other people.
So is he just helping like adapt his universe? Is that? I mean, that's what I have to think, right?
He's either maybe going on set as like a producer, or I mean, honestly, if we look at that the image that came out, let me try to pull it up. Doesn't that look like the same town that they start off in the first 2 movies? I mean, no, you didn't see the second one, but that looks like the town.
You want me? Let me see it.
Doesn't that look like the street that they?
Yeah, like the store they come out of or something. Yeah.
Could be. He certainly doesn't look like he's filming perhaps himself, but now that I know that it's it doesn't seem like it's the family that we follow through the first and second movie, I'm actually really excited to watch it. I mean, because if it was just the family, first of all, for the second movie, which you haven't seen, the movie starts off the day that it happens.
Okay.
So
you already kind of see it day one,
and you already know where they end up.
Okay.
So it's like,
for you, that was like, I really don't need this movie.
I mean, I'm sure you could come up with a good story, but you've already gotten to the interesting point where John Krasinski and Emily Blunt's characters have lost a kid, and now they're living on this farm, and and then you already see what day one happens when looks like with them in the second movie right off the bat. So yeah, you don't really need it, but now that it's like the only thing is, what would the movie? I don't know what hopefully it's a good story, but I don't know how it's going to. It's most likely going to expand the lore somehow.
I think day one stories of like apocalypses are super interesting.
Yeah,
like the 3 off the top of my head, and we just got The Last of Us and that gave us a very like long day one. It was like half an hour, I think. And it was super well done storytelling wise. And then I can't forget that. I can't remember the second one, but the other one I had was like Zombieland. Like, do you remember like how that starts off? And he's just kind of like in his apartment, and some girl knocks on his door, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, some homeless guy just bit me. Can I use your bathroom?" And so like she turns while he's in, like she's in the bathroom.
Oh, it's been a minute, but I think I remember.
Gosh, what was it? Oh yeah, and then Fear the Walking Dead. They did a pretty good day one story. I can't remember all the details from that.
Yeah, you were telling me. Yeah.
But yeah, I think this is a pretty smart place to go with the franchise. I just like my personal taste in it. I don't know if I'm all that happy about it, because I think the first movie was really good on its own. Like I don't even think it needed a second one.
Sure.
So for them to keep making like spin-offs is not something I'm like super enticed by, because it's like I think I'm not like the biggest fan of it. I think it's like a really good movie, but you know, like the concept is just it's an apocalypse with monsters. You know, like I'm not sure there's much more for me than that.
But I will say that first movie wasn't just about an apocalypse with monsters. No, it was the story of a family.
No, I feel you. And that story was really good.
Exactly.
Right.
And the second movie, I know some people aren't crazy. Well, I won't even say that. I know, because for a lot of people, it's just as good. And that was for me, it was just as good as the first one. There is certainly, or at least very close to as good. And the way that I would have thought that they would have gone in a sequel route because of how that movie ends.
The second one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
The story has to be good, because if it's just about the first day, I mean, if it's like a surviving the first day,
right,
that could be cool.
Sure.
They would be chaotic. And it's not like something we haven't seen before.
Yeah,
but
it could almost be like Cloverfield if you wanted it to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that would be very interesting, depending on who the characters are.
Yeah.
Maybe you could get some new lore in that way, potentially.
For sure.
But
yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe you get to see how like the apocalypse of this world started.
I guess we don't know, right?
We don't. Yeah, we don't know how. Like, does the second one even explain how like the aliens are there?
Oh man, I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe this will go into like deep lore.
I think they might crash down.
They might have said it in like opening exposition of the first movie. I can't really remember.
I mean, in the second one, it literally starts the day of, and I think they might crash.
You might see a crash from the sky or something.
I think.
Yeah.
I don't know, but anyways.
Yeah. It's interesting movie. I'll keep an eye out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on. This is a piece of news that pisses me off.
Yeah.
So me and Ian are AMC
A-list members.
So this doesn't affect us.
It doesn't.
But it does affect other people.
Anyone who doesn't have an A-list. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is it is about AMC, but I would not be surprised if other movie theaters follow in their footsteps, which would really
like if this is success. Well, yeah, I guess we'll go in. Yeah.
Right. So AMC is I think they're calling it
like tiered pricing.
It's tiered. They have like a stupid ass name for it. It's like Sightline. They're calling it Sightline. So Sightline is that the desirable middle seats of a movie theater, where a lot of people like to sit, me included, are going to be the premium seats, where you're going to pay more for those seats. And then people in the very front, where you're like breaking your neck to watch a movie
It'll be the cheapest,
along with wheelchair accessible, and then the rest of them will be the standard prices, which I would also argue they haven't announced what the prices are, but I would not be surprised if the regular seat prices also go up to a certain degree.
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, maybe they'll stay the same, but
aren't they already like $15 for ticket prices?
I mean, the last time I checked, maybe they were like 12.
Like,
but depending on the theater you go into a Dolby, that could be like 15.
Well, I mean, I know Dolby like is usually like 19 to $20. Yeah, so like imagine that you're getting a Dolby ticket and then they want to upcharge you because of where you want to sit. Like that just blows my mind.
It's like so. I guess before I say my point, Elijah Wood, who I have to say, like,
props to him,
Frodo, because everybody just, I can't. He's Frodo.
He's
Anyways,
Frodo,
he got online and brought up that this is making seeing the movies undemocratic, and pretty much you're punishing people for lower incomes and you're rewarding people for having higher incomes, and that's it's exactly that. The difference between seeing something live at a show or an event is different, because you're seeing something happen in front of you.
Right.
This is like we're all staring at the same fucking screen, and not to mention that AMC got lucky that they got their stock memed.
Yeah.
And this is
saved by the community.
This is, you already don't have as much people going to the movies as you used to, and now you're just the people who are going to the movies still, you're just fucking them over more.
Yeah.
And like making the people who are keeping your business alive have to pay even more. Like, I get that inflation is high, but there's other things that you could do. This is really fucked up because, like, imagine you're I don't know why this is like the generic way to go, but imagine like you are a family who have kids.
Like the scenario he set up, Elijah Wood.
Did he set that up?
I guess I heard somebody talking about it.
Well, it just seems like everybody goes for like what if you're a single mom and you have 3 kids,
right? And you have to get a babysitter for the night, and right?
But it's like you're gonna be like, why can't we sit up there, mom? Oh,
that too.
Because they have more money than us, and it's like you should just be able to go to the fucking movies and pay the same price as everybody else.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I would say is changing the price of the seats and the front to be lower doesn't, I mean, that's kind of against the point, but like it does that. I think that if just the middle ones being higher seems fucked up, but the lower ones, like nobody really does like those ones.
There needs to be an incentive for those seats because they're absolutely terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you're gonna drive people. I mean, the tickets are already so high.
Yeah, exactly.
And you already have an AMC commercial in front of the place that you've gone to see. Like, if you want that commercial, play it online, play it on people's TVs. Don't play it in front of the movie that we're about to see.
And honestly, like,
we're already here.
The only way this is like a justifiable like thing to do by spiking the middle seats prices, like the only way that's justifiable is if you lower like concessions, like those are.
But then you're not
sure. But you could argue like, oh well, movie theaters only make money off concessions, and doing this would be another way of our income. So if you're able to like lower concessions at that point, that everyone would be like, okay, maybe.
Sure. Maybe there would be less pushback, but people are fucking like mad about it, and they should be.
Agreed. Yeah.
And I agree if they lowered concessions, because I shouldn't have to if I want to get a medium popcorn and a large drink, it
shouldn't be $15.
It's like $18.
It's stupid.
And like, it's horrible. I know most like the theaters, they make most of their money from concessions, but that's outrageous.
Yeah.
And I heard somebody put out, why don't you if you charge more for concessions but get better food or something? I make people want to buy the food.
Right.
Like anything, it's not let's find ways of getting people to come in. Let's just fuck more people over, and now we're gonna push more people away from probably going to, because I guarantee
let's kill movies even more.
I guarantee somebody's gonna hear, oh, I heard movie tickets are going up. I guess I'm just gonna wait till they go on streaming.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's a bummer, man. It's idiotic. I guess the only, if you want to get I'm not advocating for AMC, but just, I mean, it is cheaper if you like seeing it go. If you
like going to the movies like
A-list
at least twice to 3 times a month, then I would recommend it.
But yeah, it's just idiotic and really pisses me off.
And I know another guy who's also idiotic and pisses people off.
Yeah.
Justin Roiland of Rick and Morty fame.
Yeah.
Hollywood Reporter actually did quite the article on him. And it detailed pretty much his entire time at Adult Swim and Rick and Morty. Basically it details the reason why these shows were able to like keep living after the scandal he put it through, which was that, he really has no involvement in any of his shows anymore.
He's pretty much just a voice actor.
He's just a voice actor now, right? And, the article kind of details, how like him and Dan Harmon really got along at first. Like season 1 was just this like great creative energy between the two. They were talking all the time, and they were collaborating like on almost every episode. And once that ended, Dan Harmon wanted to improve it, get season 2 to like a much better spot, and so he brought in a bunch of talented actual writers for shows, and it kind of changed the dynamic chemistry of those two and like the whole place, I guess. And so, I guess by mid-season 2, he was kind of like not in the writer's room as much. And
wow, I didn't know it was that early on.
Right, he was just, at some points, well, I guess this might be kind of towards season 3, but like, by the end of season 3, he was just never in the writer's room at that point. And the only way people would like even know he was in the office is if like if they heard his dogs barking, or like if
oh my
God. He had this like remote control car, he would like drive around the car. and they said at one point he drove that into the writer's room when he hadn't been in there for weeks. And they were like, bro, like, what are you doing? And so I guess, after that point, they would even, like during the pandemic have like Zoom meetings for writers, and he never joined one of those. And so, it just really is the same case across like Solar Opposites and Koala Man, that, he just had a very, as the years went on, he just got progressively worse behavior wise too, and it just made everyone there uncomfortable. And I think it just kind of helped the division grow even more,
Yeah, I was from just a little bit of the information that I was getting was that Justin and Dan haven't been on speaking terms
in years,
which is kind of mind-blowing.
Like apparently Justin Roiland gets sent like, the lines he has to do, and then he records everything in his home studio. Like he doesn't even go into the office.
That's just so upsetting.
They I don't know if you know anything about the show Koala Man. I don't really either.
We saw the one commercial. That was it.
Basically he doesn't voice any of those characters in that show. Mm-hmm. So I don't really know what he does in Koala Man. But
maybe he's I don't know.
Like basically they gave him a character in the 3rd episode, and like an option of like a reoccurring character.
Sure.
but apparently he got the voice lines so late to them that they ended up just killing off the character because it was such a hassle to get anything from him.
That's
So
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
like from what I heard and from what you said about him not showing up, I mean, the one just from my little time where I was interning at a studio, or just anything in general in terms of working or collaborating with people. I mean, if you don't show up and you're just turning in things late, I mean, who the fuck wants to work with you? And
right, like the only reason he had
creating a toxic work environment, regardless. Like, I think he was. I saw that he had like porn stars in the writers room.
Yeah, apparently he like brought in Riley Reid and like Kanye West and like the Impractical Jokers just to like show him around the office at one point.
Yeah, and that Dan wanted to, like you said, have the show be more like a better written show, and he was just like writing drawing penises.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's super unprofessional.
Yeah.
And it sounds like this is a show where like you have to be funny, and other people are showing up, and he's just making it a really weird environment or uncomfortable. And
right.
I mean, it's a problem that if you have to like send in your remote controlled car for people to know that you're there,
in the
but
office,
you don't even like go into the room.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just like, fuck you, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's super unfortunate, but like, obviously the silver lining is that the writing, like what if you like Solar Opposites and Koala Man, fine. You know, that's not for us, I think. But like, it's nice to know that the quality of these shows won't be dropping because
he hasn't even been a part of it.
Right,
it's just the voice acting, which you know,
and through the seasons he was active in, I want to say he only wrote like 3 episodes, like, or even I think he fully wrote 1 and co-wrote 2 of them. So
I mean, it's just crazy because I think, I don't know, I can't speak for other people, but for me, I was under the impression that he was a big part of this.
Yeah. I mean, like from I don't know, like there was like behind the scenes videos of like early on. I think that's maybe what gave us the impression that, you know, because the both of them were clearly like branding it as like they're co-creators and writers.
Exactly.
And he was it was like a Seth MacFarlane situation. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Where he had, you know, his maybe not control, but his like fingerprints on every part of like the process in the beginning. And then it quickly became not that. Yeah.
I'd love to know if they would ever go into detail somehow someday about, I don't know if they do in the article, about how their relationship just got so like, was Justin more like, I just want to have fun and goof around, and Dan was, you know, talking about the hero's journey the whole time, and Justin would just be annoyed, or because I also heard that they brought in a mediator to you know, discuss, like, to try to work things out. And
apparently they got to a point where they were civil, but they were never, you know, what they were in like season 1.
I mean, that's just, I mean, that's sad, but I mean, it's and I would love to hear what other people I would love to see what other people have to say, or if the article goes into it about like why. I understand that he's like the voice actor, but it is frustrating that it takes a story about domestic violence to not even to have this other stuff come up.
Yeah,
like this is stuff that should have been talked about.
I'm glad
before that ever happened.
It allows people to like the voice to be heard, you know?
Well, I just think it's unfortunate that these people and the whole studio and Dan and everybody was dealing with all this shit, but it only comes out now.
Yeah.
It's just,
I mean, and that's what's unfortunate too, is like the timing of this like Hollywood Reporter article, and like even before that article came out, there was like a bunch of reports that of this, that he hadn't been a super active part in the creative process, and a lot of people were like, are you sure? Like, or is this just to backpedal from being associated with him?
I see. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I believe that this stuff happened. I think the reporting is pretty solid. And
I agree.
So yeah, moving on to, I guess some better news. That 90s show got renewed for a second season at Netflix. I think, not that you watched the show, but I think it's surprising when any show gets renewed at Netflix.
Agreed.
Really.
Yeah.
So yeah, props to that 90s show for like beating, basically everyone that I knew and was seeing online was like, oh man, that 90s show doesn't look that great. And like when it came out, I heard nothing but positivity, like from anybody who watched it. And yeah, like I finished the season today, actually. Really solid season. Like I would give it, I'd give it a 7.5. The entire season. I think there's some like episodes that aren't as funny, but like there's a couple that like really, really make me laugh and like really have emotional moments. And yeah, all the characters have like really, really well done like comedic lines at points, and they try and like move the characters around so there's different pairings, and I don't know, just surprised the hell out of me with the quality.
How rewatchable would you say it is? Like, because that 70s show, very rewatchable.
I would say I think it's going to become more rewatchable the amount of episodes there is, because I will say this, like this 10 episode first season is a little fast. Like, I think it could have done with like a 20 episode order.
Yeah.
Not that the quality like dropped because of it, but just that, like certain plot points were hit a little fast, I think. So yeah, and I think you might have just gotten more moments of just like the friends hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I was kind of feeling about, like, I guess that's also kind of what turns me off surprisingly from watching it, is that there are so few episodes compared to how they used to do TV back in the day.
Right. Yeah.
But
I will say, like How I Met Your Father got a 10 episode order for the first season, and from the success of that got like 20 episodes for the second season. So I could.
I'm sorry, it was successful.
Apparently.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I could see them getting a 20 episode like second season if that's the case.
Okay, fair enough. Do you, now that you've watched the whole season, what does it take? It takes place over summer.
It takes place the summer of 95. Yeah.
Do you like? Does it? How do you see a season 2? Like, would it be a school year?
No. It's summer. Summer of 96 would happen.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So I will say they left season 1 off at a really good place. Like, it makes season 2 pretty exciting, I think.
Interesting.
Like, just relationship drama and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I hope they don't do this every season where it's just the summer.
Yeah.
Because I think basically, like, all of Leia's the main character, and all of her friends are now at Point Place, and she is now taking like a 9-month break from her friends. So if they were to do that every single season, I'm not sure I would love that. I would want her to stick with her friends all year around.
Or maybe she's the one factor that stays the same, and all her other friends go through these changes, or vice versa. And like that's what keeps things interesting.
Sure, I could see that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Speaking of things that I don't know how I feel about, but it could be cool. One of my favorite shows is Dexter.
Yeah.
Ian hasn't seen any of Dexter, I don't think.
I might have seen the first episode like forever ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they, along with Billions, but I haven't seen really any of Billions. They are over at Showtime developing sequel, prequels. I don't know. It's the conglomerate, different mixture of things. But what they talked about doing is one of the things that is definitely happening, because the other two they're thinking about, they might go forward, I think. But the one that they definitely are talking about is Dexter Origins, which.
So different actor, obviously, right?
Different actor, because it's going to be a prequel series where they feature the younger versions of the main cast, and so it'll be Dexter graduating from college and then going to work for Miami Metro, and I guess it's going to have younger versions of the characters from Miami Metro. It'll have Deb, his sister, and it'll have Harry, their dad. And I mean, maybe they'll get. I think they might get the same actor that plays Harry, but they're gonna have all different characters, most likely of the rest of the cast. It could be cool. I will watch it. Yeah, but I'm kind of done with and the thing about Dexter. First of all, it was Michael C. Hall that is Dexter, and he was like one of the. He is Dexter. It's not that somebody couldn't play him or be very good. It's just, and Dexter starts off when he's already a serial killer,
right?
And going through his vigilante serial killing. This is gonna be him, I guess. It'll be most likely interesting seeing him fuck up in major ways, probably, or get the hang of what he's doing. I don't know. It's just
you're like, do we need it? Is that what you're kind of feeling?
Yeah. I don't know. It's like, okay, cool. I mean, it might tie in with a lot of serial killers at the time.
Am I thinking wrong? Didn't they already bring Dexter back? Like, didn't they do like a sequel, like seasons or something?
So that's the other thing. Dexter New Blood came out the end of 2021.
Have you been watching that?
Oh yeah, I watched it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like
it was just one season.
Yeah, it was just one season. And the way that it ends, it is, you could have a sequel, and that was the thing that I was, if they were going to announce anything, that I was the most excited about.
Right.
I won't go into spoilers. So one of the other things that they did announce is that they are going to most likely do a Dexter New Blood, either like an offshoot of it or make it a season 2. I don't know what they would name, like how they would do that, but it would primarily just focus on Dexter's son, Harrison. And it would be him going into New York City after the events of Dexter New Blood. But so without spoilers, Dexter New Blood had Michael C. Hall.
Okay.
This new thing would not have Michael C. Hall.
Right.
I mean, if anything...
And you want to see Michael C. Hall.
I mean, he is Dexter.
Yeah.
I think Harrison is a interesting character, and if they could do it right, it could be a really good show.
But it sounds like Michael C. Hall's done. Like he's done his 9 seasons of Dexter and then 1 season of New Blood, and he's like, okay, sequels without me is prequels without me.
He could show up in certain ways in this Harrison led a show, but it would be very small.
It'd be like cameo size.
Yeah, like it could be somewhat reoccurring, but I don't know how much.
Right.
That's the one that interests me the most, because it's kind of seeing if Harrison is going to follow in the steps of his dad or not. Though I feel like there was almost it was on a coin flip of like how he was at the end of that season, but you kind of got the vibe of where he might be going, which would be the entire point of what makes the show interesting.
Right.
And then the other thing that was announced is that they're going to focus on serial killers from the show, and most prominently the Trinity Killer, which is played by John Lithgow.
Oh, neat.
Though, again, it wouldn't be John Lithgow.
It would be a younger version of that. Yeah.
Which, again, could be cool. But part of what made the Trinity Killer so good was that John Lithgow is so good at...
I love John Lithgow, man.
Is so good.
Yeah.
So I'm only really excited about one of these, which is this, if they do a sequel with Harrison. But again...
But that one's not confirmed, right?
It's
just kind of hinted at.
It's kind of in the works. It's most likely coming.
Okay.
But there's no like go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But again, all of these are without Michael C. Hall.
Yeah.
So it's like, here's the character of Dexter or Dexter adjacent characters, but like the main person that you followed through and associate with the Dexter franchise isn't there.
Right. Yeah. You're asking a lot of the Dexter fans to not want to follow the actor of Dexter. Yeah.
And it'll be none of the cast.
Right.
But though
it's everyone new.
It's like all the same characters, but played by different people. So it's...
Yeah, I don't get it. But, you know,
so
if the writing is strong, then I'm sure it'll succeed.
I mean, it's Showtime.
Yeah.
So I have faith that one of these will be good.
Sure.
But that's all my thoughts on that. It's just kind of weird, honestly.
Yeah. Well, we went and saw a movie last week that we were excited about at the time. And that movie's Knock at the Cabin.
Mm-hmm.
The movie that dethroned Avatar: Way of the Water.
That is true.
Yeah, I think the trailers, I think you if you would listen to past podcasts, you would know the trailers look good from what we saw.
Yeah.
And we were a little hype. We were like, oh, M. Night Shyamalan, you know, cool twist. Yeah, we could get into this. And I could be speaking for myself, but I think I was a bit disappointed.
Yeah, I was equally disappointed.
Yeah, yeah. I think
fair assumption.
I think the problem for me, and this will be a spoiler review.
Yeah.
Is that the trailers really show you like 95% of the movie.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing greater in the movie than what is presented in the trailers, which is the biggest bummer ever. Like,
yeah, like one of the things that was most frustrating about the trailer, like seeing the trailer before the movie, was there's a point where when the little girl, she sneaks out, and you see it in the trailer.
Yeah,
you see her sneak out. You see Dave Bautista walking, looking to find her,
and then you see her grab,
and then you see him grab her.
Yep,
and I knew that in my head. And so when that scene happened, there was
no suspense.
Maybe it would play out differently if I hadn't seen that. But I mean, that was just super frustrating because I was like, oh, well, I know what happens.
And it was also like she turned one way and then she turned the other way. And then the third time you're like, oh, well, he's going to be there.
Right. It's the most stereotypical little like jump scare, or not even. Would you even consider that a jump scare?
He tried to. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, what? It was meh.
A little weak.
It was very weak. I mean, if you've seen a movie, you know what's going to happen. It would have been cooler if you subverted an expectation. Like you had like, I don't know, some other character show up.
Now, I will say like, it surprised me the way the movie started off. Basically it starts off with Wynn just playing, like collecting caterpillars. Grasshoppers, you're right. And Dave Bautista immediately starts walking up.
Yeah.
Like he's already there. And
Leonard.
Leonard. And he's like, hey, here to be your friend, here to be friends with your dads. And I'm good at catching grasshoppers.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's actually very likable.
Oh, yeah. No, I think, speaking on the actors, I think Dave Bautista turns in a great performance in this movie. I wish I knew the actress's name, but the actress who plays Wynn, the little girl, she's fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen many kids like pull off like the natural kid feel.
Yeah.
Right? And she was just naturally a kid.
And she wasn't, no offense to kids, but and I guess I mean this in a good way, is like kids in movies are kind of dumb sometimes.
Sure.
But in real life, they're not that dumb all the time. And
Sure.
she was one of the most sane kids, where she was talking complete sense the whole movie, where she was like,
she really was.
Why don't you call 911? Like, don't let them in. This is what exactly is happening. And I'm describing to it in the perfect detail.
Yeah. Now, I will say, like, I wish there was more of her in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's one of the things that was really upsetting.
Yeah, because at a certain point, she just stops having that many lines.
She was the eyes of. She was almost us,
right? The eyes of the audience,
and at a probably 30 to 40 minutes in, or even before that, maybe she kind of takes a back seat, and it focuses more on the dads, which isn't a bad thing, but really she was like one of the hooks that was getting you in the story. And
because it felt like,
because it was like Leonard and Wen,
but like it felt like all three of them were in it to make the decision together,
and she just kind of didn't have any decision or any. Yeah, she just.
I mean, she gave her thoughts, like towards the end of the movie, I'll say.
Yeah.
But speaking more on like the fact that there's nothing greater there too, is that like they presented these big things like the 4 people who come to knock at your door. Like, why are these 4 people, and why is the apocalypse happening? It's more, like the answer there is more just like, oh, well, whatever, maybe it's not a religion, but like whatever religion is out there is like making an apocalypse happen. And there are 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and it's these people.
Sure.
And they're just there to serve the will of whatever is making the apocalypse happen.
Yeah.
And that's just like, okay, I guess that's fine, but it's nothing amazing being told. There's nothing, mind-blowing story-wise that's being told through that.
I think I agree. I think what was frustrating about the 4 horsemen thing was it kind of was like like one of the characters literally like, they're the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
Yeah.
Which was, maybe I'm dumb and I kind of needed it, but at the same time, I think there was a lot of other people that were like, yeah, you didn't have to say it. But
no,
I appreciate it.
I appreciated that.
But I think M. Night was talking recently and was saying that having the whole shtick of needing a twist has kind of made his career, his movies, that's the thing that people gravitate towards. So it kind of dampens the
ones that he doesn't do that for.
And this is one of them where it kind of has a twist, but it kind of doesn't. And I think that I appreciate that this is a more emotionally driven story than it is relying on some sort of mind-bending twist. And I'll appreciate that about it. When
your movie sets up very big questions, I think people want to see those answers in a way that's not like super obvious. Like,
I think there was only 2. The problem with it was that there was only 2 trains of thoughts, and they were both applicable. And
it's either this is really happening or this is not happening.
And to me, it just didn't keep the ambience up, the suspense up, or it skirted the lines a little bit early on, where it was like, maybe this isn't happening.
Yeah,
or maybe
I agree.
This is
it did a good job early on.
Up to a point.
Right, where you thought,
the first 30
these people
minutes
might be crazy.
Yeah, the first 30 minutes were really great. And I love the close-up cameras, but
especially when the guy recognized Redman.
Yeah.
That's when you're like, oh, this might be something different.
Right.
Yeah.
So I will give it that there were points where you were thinking it might not be happening and this might actually be happening, and they're all on a forum and maybe they're just crazy.
Right.
But I don't think that it kept up the suspense or anything interesting after probably a third into the movie. It started to like just not be as interesting.
It was just the same plot point over and over. It was like most of the movie felt like it was just trying to convince like one of the dads, that it was really happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like the other guy was kind of like, this could be real for sure.
And he's using the whole thing like you hit your head.
Right.
I think the cinematography was really cool. Like I like the close-up shots. I like some of the stuff about like when Dave Bautista like raises his weapon and it follows it and it goes down with it. And
yeah.
But then equally, there was a lot of shots that were either, I don't know, like there was just points in the movie where it felt
stale.
Yeah. And I don't know if that was the momentum or the script but because all the acting was really good. Like
I agree. Yeah,
I can't fault
even the actress who played Adrian. I think that's her name. Adriana, maybe was her name.
No, it was Adrian.
She was great, honestly.
Yeah, they were all great.
Yeah.
It just didn't keep the excitement up, and it just got to a lull, I guess.
Yeah. Even though the movie was short, it was an hour 40, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just unfortunate. And there's a lot of things as an audience that I think if you're just watching it with your brain turned off, like it's fine.
Yeah.
But and not to say that that's a bad thing. You can watch a movie however you want. But when I'm watching the video that the news network gets from the first like tidal wave that happens, and we just got this footage, and it's somebody on a beach filming this tidal wave, and
it's so dumb.
It's not like it doesn't say like they were recording this live. It
just goes to somebody recording it,
and then that person gets assumingly killed in the tidal wave,
right?
With the phone still recording
the ocean, and then they turn off the TV. It doesn't ever go back to a news person. They're just like, okay, this is where we end it,
right?
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
That doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
There's some cheesy stuff for sure.
There's points where there's planes falling out of the sky and nobody says anything.
Well, yeah, that too. But like to me, it was never clear on like. None of them ever explained that we're like, yeah, and in these visions, we have to kill each other at this exact time.
Right.
It was just like they all just somehow knew that like this next person's going. We got to kill this person.
Yeah, and they knew that they had to walk in like this pattern and that had to put their like a cloth over their head and yeah, it was
just a lot of like weird questions there
left unanswered. And
right.
Yeah. I think Knock at the Cabin was just
very okay.
Yeah. It was just very okay. It was the first 30, 35 minutes were super enjoyable.
Yeah, I would agree.
And then it
falls off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that are not falling off.
Hey.
The Last of Us, episode 4.
Mm-hmm.
We are gonna talk spoilers, just like Knock at the Cabin. We usually watch these episodes together, but this past week we didn't, so I don't actually know what Ian thinks about this episode. Yeah. But it's not by any means the best episode for me, but it's still really good. And I love, not exactly finally, but also finally getting to see Joel and Ellie connect and actually have a relationship.
This I will say, I don't know if I have favorites, but if I did, like this could be up there for like on the season.
I think my favorite is the last, like the third episode.
3, yeah. I think for me, this episode did so much for Joel and Ellie as like a relationship chemistry wise. There were just 2 or 3 scenes where it just hit you so like emotionally. Like the one that sticks out for me is Joel checking up on Ellie after she shot the guy.
Yeah.
And like clearly she's trying to hide it, that she's hurting, but he sees it and he gets very real with her, and
it's not fair.
Right. and basically she admits that she's had to do it before, and he then
though she doesn't want to talk about it.
Right. But
which is the first time that she's not wanting to talk about anything.
True. But he then like shows her how to like actually hold a gun, and like there's just like her acting in that moment is so beautiful, because like she has like a kid, like she has the tears in her eyes, but like the dad is like cheering her up, so she's laughing through it, and I don't know, it was really beautiful.
Yeah.
Like the other moment that didn't necessarily like enhance like their relationship, but really stood out for me in like the episode was when she actually shot that guy in the back. Like it was like everything from that actor who like was like, please, like begging to not kill me. And
I was kind of like, fuck you at that point.
Agreed, but like
I get it.
And adding to the moment, like everything going on around it, where like afterwards the guys are like, oh my God, Brian's dead. Like they're like, guys, get over here, it's Brian. And beforehand, when like Joel shot the first guy and the guy like ran over and was like, oh my God, you killed him. Yeah, you mother. Yeah. And I was like, they're making a conscious effort to make it feel like the second game.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see what you're okay. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Because in the like
repercussions.
Not that I played it, but like in the second game, almost everyone you encounter that's an enemy or you kill, like, there are people in their party or group have a meaningful like reaction towards their death.
And you in their story are the villain.
Right.
Yeah.
So that to me is very much like, it feels like they're thinking ahead, and that this is like how these interactions are going to go from here on out with human people. But
they're humanizing the NPCs.
Absolutely they are. And really early on.
Yeah. I think speaking of humanizing the NPCs, it's I've actually played up to pretty much once we go after episode 5, that'll be where, like, probably somewhere in episode 5 will be where I stop playing.
Right.
But humanizing the NPCs, we have 2 characters who, one is the voice actor of Tommy from the game, who's Perry, who's that like paramilitary dude with the long white hair.
Oh, okay. Cool,
so he voices Tommy in the video game. And then that woman who I guess is the leader of this group.
Kathleen,
yeah.
Boy, she is something.
She's I think she's from a show.
She's from 2.5 Men.
Okay.
Do you remember her in 2.5 Men?
No.
She was like Charlie's neighbor that was always hitting on him.
Maybe I do. But she was from something else. But
at least I think that's what she's from. If I'm wrong,
I think you might be right.
I'm sorry, but yeah.
But she was great. Whatever. I know, maybe we'll find out what was going on with that doctor, but we also probably don't need to. I think we got enough information that's like, he had some connection to whatever's going on with Henry, which is who shows up at the end of the episode. But he's like, she obviously didn't want to kill him, but then when she finds out that these people died, she blames Henry. She blames Henry, and then he's adjacent to Henry, so she just point blank kills him.
Yeah.
And they think that Joel and Ellie are
mercs.
Mercs. Which is really unfortunate that they're going to find out that, she's probably going to have to deal with the fact that she killed a doctor when she really didn't need to.
Sure.
I would imagine maybe that'll have some effect on her. But is the stuff that's bubbling up under the concrete, are those bloaters? Is that what
I think it's some insane fungi monster.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Okay.
I got no idea what could be under there, but
All
yeah,
right.
it could be bloaters. I wouldn't be surprised.
All right.
Yeah. Wait, speaking on that, are you surprised that we haven't seen really any infected in these last 2 episodes?
I think that what Craig Mazin and what this show is, what's most important is that this is a show that is about human relationships.
Oh, agreed.
And
yeah.
what through the lack of society and through this apocalyptic backdrop, they are able to tell human stories, and that's the more interesting part of it. And when the infected, when the cordyceps come in, they're probably going to be more effective because they're so sparsely being used. And
that's fair.
And because if you have them around all the time, there's a way that you could do it, but it does run the risk of getting used to them, and your heroes are, depending on how you do it, they get out alive. So they're still scary, but
I guess I just kind of would like a reminder that the threat is there.
I think, I saw the preview for the next episode.
Oh, okay.
It'll be there.
I'm sure it will be. Yeah. But it's just interesting. Like basically 2 hours worth of Last of Us.
Agreed. I agree.
I mean, not that I'm complaining. It's just interesting.
Funny enough, now I'm saying one of the things that you say. Funny enough,
I guess I do say that a
lot. Funny enough, the some of the stuff that really surprised me the most, and it was really quick. But when I don't know how they pull this off. Obviously the budget, but they're just driving through all of Midwest America, and it looks like it's been overgrown. Like it looks incredible.
Yeah.
Like I really feel like they're there.
Absolutely.
And with all the cars that are rusted and broken down, and I think the overgrown
fungi.
Well, yeah, but also like just overgrown greenery on that bridge that they go over, and I'm like, it's really, and they're all really kind of short shots, but I don't know how they pulled this off.
I think the cities almost might impress me more, because it's like,
I mean, the city in episode 2 impressed me more, but it's
agreed.
Still just
I mean, Kansas City I still thought looked like fantastic,
right?
I mean, I don't know, like the work they put in to make it really feel like the game is wild.
Yeah. I love that. I kind of forgot about the puns, and I'm so glad that they're in here.
I mean, the last scene with Joel and Ellie was just fantastic.
Oh yeah.
I think I was maybe a little surprised by it, because, and I think it worked so well for the episode, but to me in the game it doesn't feel like Joel is at this point in the relationship with Ellie. Like I still feel like he is, like he said it in this episode that he's like your cargo, right?
Yeah.
I still think in the game at this point he's fully under that impression that like she is only cargo, and he has a mission to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now at this point in the episode, I feel like there's like a real connection being made there.
Yeah.
Which works. I think the whole episode was like kind of leading up to that.
How far, if that didn't happen, how far in this 9 episode series would you have thought that emotional connection would have happened?
Maybe just one more episode, like at the end of episode 5.
Okay.
So maybe not. Yeah, I guess I forgot it was only 9 episodes.
So do you think that this season's going to end where the game ends?
I do think it's going to end where the first game ends. Yeah.
Okay, because that's surprising to me, because I thought when I was, seeing gameplay, that it like where I was at, which is pretty much where this episode ends, was only like kind of the beginning-ish. Like I thought, like it didn't feel like there was a lot. Like it felt like there was a lot more to come, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I still think that's fair. There's a lot more to come. But I think...
Because now I feel like we're at a halfway point, which is kind of surprising to me.
I would say, sure, this could be looked as a halfway point, but maybe next week that'll be more the case. That like at that point it'll be the halfway point. And I still think,
it will be the halfway point.
And I still think at like, with 4 more episodes after that, you can get a lot done. Like I do think like they can cover a lot in 4 episodes.
Okay, it'll be really interesting to see.
Right. Because obviously we know episode 5 starts out, they're still in Kansas City. So,
yeah. Besides that, I thought, just their connection was really believable, and I love the like them just, first of all, I could not just sleep in the woods like that without a tent or anything. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. But
survival mode, you know.
The action was really intense, and again, I like that it's sloppy.
Yeah,
you know, like it's not.
Makes it feel so much more real.
Yeah, exactly. So, just props to them for keeping up like a great, incredible show so far.
And both actors just keep impressing the hell out of me.
Yeah, I think this is not that I didn't already think that Pedro Pascal was doing a great job, but the way that he is like towing the line between, again, like you said, like treating her like she's just cargo, and then actually having a
father-daughter relationship.
And opening up, and and him even like it goes from them going to sleep, and then her like.
I love that the parallels at the beginning and end of the episode was so good.
They keep doing these parallels, and it's so effective.
Yeah, it's just great storytelling.
Yeah,
that's what it is. So
we're unless you have any other thoughts, we'll be covering it the show every week
until the finale.
I only watched one thing this week besides like I read a book, but
same. I've already talked about that 90s show. That's all I watched besides Last of Us. So
I watched one episode of Shrinking.
Don't know it.
It's a new Jason Segel and Harrison Ford show on Apple TV.
Jason Segel, Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
that's a cool duo.
Honestly, I wish there was more Harrison Ford. Yeah, it's good. It's nice. If I had Jason Segel as a therapist, I would lose my mind.
He plays a therapist. So
does Harrison Ford.
Wow, I love that.
It's good. I'm interested to see where it goes. It definitely has. It's a dramedy for sure, and it's cute.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not like super hooked yet, but we'll see how it goes. Nice. I might talk about it later. But
how many episodes in the season?
There's 3 right now.
Okay.
But I don't know. Right. I don't know how many there's gonna be. Sounds
interesting.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. But I don't have any songs because I was kind of burned out this week. So
no big deal.
Yeah.
Just make sure you listen to the last week's songs, everybody.
Oh yeah. Listen, I do song suggestions. So next week I'll probably have some, but all the episodes have all the other episodes beside this one have those. So check them out. Check them out. They're good.
But yeah, I think that's all we wanted to discuss with you, you guys today. Not that we're discussing it with you, but maybe hit us up in the comments of our TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at LastWeekThisWeekPod. We're also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you want to check us out there,
we're on Podbean.
We are on Podbean. I just forget about that too. But yeah, we like to release these episodes on the Friday or Saturday of every week. If you want to, listen in the future as well. But yeah, thank you guys very much for watching all the way through and keeping on supporting us.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Well, until next time, I guess.
Until next time.